Hi guys, it's Jordan from P&P Campers. Just going to do a handover video on your Lunar Champ. It's 2008 and we're starting on the bonnet. So we've got your washer fluid on the left, power steering fluid and engine coolant just there. Brake fluid attached to the servo just down the back, and your engine oil gets topped up through there. Engine oil dipstick, it's this red topped one just here at the front of the engine. It clips in just down there. Then got your engine battery terminals under the bonnet here. So your engine battery itself sits under the floor in the cab, but you've got your positive terminal just here and your negative terminal just here. So essentially that just, they just run straight through to the engine battery, and it allows you to jump start it from outside rather than tearing the floor up to get to it on the inside. Your chassis plate, this one just here, 3.5 tons, and your paint code, all the paint on here, and also kind of on the fiberglass body as well, is Fiat 249. So that's a standard Fiat white colour. All of the vans from about 2003 have been that colour until they got a lot newer. The bonnet release is this one just here, and your fuel cap is just down here behind this flap. You can get to that flap no matter what the door's doing, so you can get to that nice and easily. It does tell you also your PSI for the tyres just there as well. Your freshwater filling cap, this one just here to the right hand side of the habitation door. That's nicely covered up by the flap just there. Your two vents just here for your fridge, so if you ever need to get to the back of the fridge for any reason, then you just undo these little clips in here and they'll just pull out. You have also got the winter covers, but I've taken them off because I've got the fridge on at the moment, so anytime that you want to use the fridge, you should always take these fridge vents off, these inserts. Leave these bits on, but take the inserts out. Wastewater drain. Any water that's gone down any sink or drain comes out from there when you pull this lever out. Storage just here at the back. There's a couple of bits in here, so you've got a warning triangle. I think it's a warning triangle. A pair of chocks, which is obviously always helpful. So if you want to level up your vehicle, you've got that in there. Bike rack at the back. Put on the extra handle just here so you can grab two bikes, as I know that you're going to be using it. You've got the Truma boiler cover just here, so if you have the boiler lit up on gas, you'll be able to feel air coming out, hot air coming out from underneath here like that. So that's a way to double check that it's definitely working. And obviously your tow bar at the bottom there and reversing camera at the top. Toilet cassette locker, nice and simple, so push it all the way back in, that's locked in place. Lift up the little yellow tab and pull it out. Will allow you to put it all the way out. All you need to do from there is empty it out from here, and when you're emptying it out, hold down the little yellow tab at the back. It's just basically a pressure release valve, and then once you've emptied it out, a cap full of the blue fluid, and then put it back away. So putting it all the way back in like that. Next flap just here is for your hookup. So if you had access to a hookup cable, plug it in there, and that'll give you access to quite a few things inside that you wouldn't be able to use otherwise. And the gas locker, it looks like you can actually pull it out if you want to. Not when the gas bottles are plumbed in, I suppose, but you can do that there if you like. So at the moment, this is a 6 kilo propane bottle. This is full. Anti-clockwise round to the left turns it on. Clockwise round to the right turns it off. All you need to know really is that you need to turn this off before you start driving, and when you come to replacing this bottle for a new one, you undo this nut just here, and then just screw it onto the new one and tighten it on. You haven't got to worry about any of the stuff there on the regulator. That's all just for our testing purposes, and you've got until 2025 to replace this hose. Not a huge amount to run you through in the cab. Main things really, we've got the pretty much brand new Pioneer head unit on there, which is actually a really nice modern one. So you should have lots and lots of extras and bits and pieces on there to use. And they're not cheap either, those Pioneer ones. They're really good quality. The reversing camera will come on when you put the vehicle into reverse. You can turn the screen on and off manually, but basically it'll only work when you plug it into reverse. Yeah, you got about 40. I'll just double check the ignition on. 43,000 miles. So, you know, for a diesel engine, it's absolutely nothing at all. You know, these will easily do 200,000 miles without any kind of stress at all. You've got 6-speed manual gearbox as opposed to the 5-speed, which makes a huge difference when you're doing long periods of driving. Other than that, you've got your electric windows. Handbrakes on the right hand side of these seats, so just be careful when you jump out of these because it does hurt if you catch yourself on them. Yeah, other than that, I think we're all done for the outside. I'll just go around and I'll go in through the habitation door and I'll show you a few bits inside. So, first thing you notice when you come in will be the control panel just up here to the right. So, the main on and off switch for the entire control panel is this one over here on the right, and if you turn that off, basically anything 12 volt in the vehicle will just stop working. It won't have any power going to it. The next one is tank heater. So you only really need to do that in the winter. You don't need to do that any other time, to be honest. So for the most part, you're just going to leave that off. The next one along is your water pump switch. So if that's on and you've got the light on up there, you can come to your tap, and when you pull the tap up, the pump will come on. So you've got pressurised water straight away. Another good sign is that when you turn the tap off there, the pump turns off as well. So that means that there's no leaks anywhere, and it also means that the whole system is up to pressure without any air in the system or anything like that. On that point, the first thing you want to do, if you want to use your heating and your hot water and all that sort of stuff, the absolute first thing you need to do is make sure, you know, this is assuming that you've got some water in your fresh tank. Turn your pump switch on, come over here and just do what I've just done there on the cold. If the water comes through nice and clearly on the cold, then the only other thing you need to do is come into this, don't know what I've done there. There you go. Being too heavy-handed. The little switch down the back there, so the red one with the hole going through it, you can see there at the moment that's in its upright position, so it's lifted up. If you push that button down, all the water from inside the boiler will drain out straight onto the floor. The reason you do that, and the only reason you don't need to do that, is if it was going to get so cold outside and you weren't going to be in the vehicle keeping it warm. Reason for that is, if the boiler is full of water and it freezes, it'll expand and then eventually crack any and every pipe near to it. So if you're going to be using the boiler, then that's absolutely fine. You don't need to use that. You don't need to drop the water out of it. But if you're not going to be in the van all winter long, I would strongly recommend pushing that little red button down. Hopefully you can see the one I'm talking about just there. Like I said, when you push that down, all the water will drain out of it, and that's it. You can just leave it alone. But for the moment, the only way to check that that's definitely full up and that that's upright and all that sort of stuff is turn the pump on and then pull this to the hot side. We should get a little bit of air coming through it, just a little bit. So it didn't even really get any air, so that's fine. So because we've recently done a habitation check on the vehicle and filled that boiler up, lit it up, all that sort of stuff, there's no air in it, it's completely pressurised, and then you can go ahead and use your boiler dials here. All right, but that's the first thing you need to do that. If you try and light the boiler up on gas for the hot water and there's no water in the boiler, it will overheat. So you need to make sure that that boiler's full. And like I said, the only way to do that is by lifting the tap up on the hot side with the pump on. And if the water comes through like it did just there, that proves to you that the boiler is full of water. If when you pull that tap up on the hot side with the pump on, no water comes out from there and it kind of coughs and splutters, it either means one of two things. It either means there's not enough water in your fresh tank, or that drain tap down there is down, and all the water is just draining out straight underneath the vehicle. All right, but you need to do that. Just double check basically that the boiler's full before you try and light it up. The other things you got are battery. So basically when your engine's running, you should have this little light here come on, and what that means is that your engine battery is charging your leisure battery, or in other words, your split relay is working. So when you start the engine up, you've got your alternator that charges up your engine battery, just like any car or van. But in a motorhome, you've also got a split relay. So you've got a split relay which sends it from there, where your engine battery is, through to your leisure in the back end. So all the time your engine's running, both engine and leisure batteries are both getting charge from the alternator. So that's why you should have that light come on there when the engine's running. If your hookup was plugged in, you'd have that light come on there, which is the battery charger sign. And if your waste tank was nearly full, you'd have this light here come on. So that's what those three top lights do. If I press up on this little button, this little rocker switch here, that tells me the engine battery voltage and the freshwater level. So engine battery voltage on the right, so you're at about 13 volts on there, which is perfect. And you're just below half a tank on the fresh. If I push down, it will show leisure battery voltage, so about 12 on that, which is fine, and pretty much empty on the waste. So that's how you use that control panel there. It's a really simple unit, and they use it in all of these Lunars. Above that is your thermostat for the boiler. So when you have the heating system working, that's your thermostat, which tells it when to turn itself on and off. If you've got the gas switched on, because this is a gas only boiler, when you turn the dial down to the right, you get heating only. This little dial in the middle goes from 1 to 9, and that's basically like a little thermostat, you know, or fan speed setting kind of thing. So basically just how powerful you want that heating to work. If you go down one more, you get the little amber light come inside there, and that means that the heating and the hot water are both on at the same time. So you hear that noise just there? That's your boiler lighting up, allowing the gas to come through and light up the boiler. So like I said, down 2 is heating and hot water. Heating is the little gas flame symbol, and the hot water is the one there that says 60 degrees. So at the moment, leaving it on there, all the little circular vents around the vehicle, which there will be somewhere. These ones here, there'll be one in the bathroom, there might be one behind here. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's one. Oh no. Well, they'll be dotted all over the place basically. Little circular vents, they will be pumping around air at the moment, and then pretty quickly they'll start to heat up like that. So that's heating and hot water. Back to the middle turns it off. Go up 1, and that's 40 degrees of hot water. Up 2 is 60. So if you didn't want the heating on whatsoever, but you did want hot water, you'd go up. If you didn't want hot water, but you did want heating, you'd just go 1 down. And if you wanted heating and hot water, you'd go 2 down. So for the minute, I'm going to turn that off because I don't need any of that, but that's how you use it. The switch just here does various things. So you've got the lights up there that come on. You've got lights, which I think are the awning lights up there from this switch just here. These 2 switches over here do your lights in the corners and also the lights in the bathroom. So there's all, you know, various switches around the vehicle that you have to work out, you know, what lights they do and where they control, sort of thing. You've got your 3-burner hob up here, so you will need an igniter of some description to light these up. So any of those, you turn those and then light it up with the igniter. You've got a thermocouple on the back of each of these just here, which essentially senses a burning flame. So when you light these up, the thermocouple recognises that flame and allows the gas to carry on going through. If the flame was on and the wind blew the flame out, the thermocouple was there to recognise that the flame's gone out and to stop the gas coming through anymore. So they all work, and actually every gas appliance in this whole motorhome and every gas appliance in your house will all have a thermocouple on them. You've got your oven and grill, so that works. Same sort of thing, you need an igniter to light that up. I was just checking that. But basically you push in and to the right for the grill, in and to the left for the oven. And when you're doing that, you just basically hold, light it up like that. It's all pretty simple, to be honest. That's that. Cupboard's just here just for storage. And you've got your gas isolator taps down here. So if you thought there was a problem with an appliance, you can isolate it from there. If I just run you through what they are. So the top one is your grill and oven. Second one down is the cooker. Third one down is the fridge, and the bottom one is the boiler. So you can just tell that you get used to knowing what the little symbols mean. Whilst I'm here as well, this little catch down here, hatch should I say, this is the top of your fresh water tank. So if I take this cap off here, you can see there's water in the tank, and the only thing I want to show you is that you've got just down there, you see that little that white lever, that is actually your fresh drain. So if you wanted to drain the fresh water out from this tank, you need to pull that bung out and all the water will drain out onto the floor. If you don't want to have to do that, you can also, if you want to, just open up the waste drain and pull all the water through the sink. That'll do the exact same job, apart from it won't get out any sediment that is sat right at the very bottom of the tank. So if you want to completely drain out the tank, you need to go down there. But if you're not too worried about that, you can just pull the tap for a little while and that'll drain all the water out anyway, just through the waste tank instead. Okay, so the fridge. So it's a reasonably new fridge. I'm not sure if it's the original one or not, but either way, it's nice to have a nice new fridge. So you've got the little green light in there on the on and off switch just there all the time. So that, well, not all the time, sorry. But that's, at the moment, that's on constantly because the fridge is working on one of the 3 ways. So if I press this button here, it comes up to the right there telling me that there's gas on and it's on 5. So at the moment the fridge is lit up on gas and it's on 5. If I want to change it from gas to something else, I press and hold this middle button until it starts flashing. I can then use these little buttons here to go left and right through there. So that's the 12 volt, which we can't use at the moment because the engine needs to be running for that. That's the hookup, which we can't use at the moment because the hookup's not plugged in. So we can only use the gas. So if I click there now and click again on 5, it will light up on gas, and that's it. So if you had the hookup plugged into the vehicle, I would recommend clicking it over and choosing the hookup. That will literally just leave it, it will just work its way to cold after a good few hours. If you don't have hookup, just leave it on the gas because it works perfectly well like that. And if you've pre-cooled the fridge and you're going to start driving, you need to switch over to the 12 volt one, and then when you stop and park up and get yourself ready, switch back over to one of the other 2. The reason for that is that the 12 volt element doesn't get the fridge cold by itself. It's not powerful enough, and none of them are. So you need to pre-cool these fridges before you go, at least 3 or 4 hours before you leave. So sometimes I recommend doing it the night before. So that's how the fridge works. If you want to turn it off, just literally press and hold on there until the lights go out, and that's it. Again, you've got more switches all over the place for lights. What else do we have? So, bathroom. It looks a little bit of a mess at the moment. That's because we've been doing our bits and pieces to tidy it up and do the hab check and all that. So, shower and the sink, I'm not going to show you how they work because it's simple stuff, but You literally just got a mixer tap, hot and cold, exactly the same as the one in the kitchen. This shower screen runs along to there, and like I said, your lights are from the switch outside. The blinds in here. So the way that you have to actually use that is you put it down, and when you get to the bottom, you need to push forwards a little bit, and that's what makes it hook in. And when you lift it up, put it back, and it release. So if you just pull down and try and let go of it straight away without pushing forwards, it will just fly up and make a pretty loud noise. So make sure, pull down, push forwards, and then same again on the way up. That's how you use any of those blinds and fly screens. They're the same all the way around. I was just having a quick look to see. Yeah, same idea basically. Push forwards and it'll latch in. But yeah, so in the back here you've got a couple of bits. They're the wires there for your reversing camera. Other than that, I don't think there's a huge amount else to show you. We obviously, we're going to go straight through it in a minute and give it a good clean through so it's all ready to go. But yeah, I mean, before you leave and start driving, essentially just the main things are turn your power off for things, make sure your boiler is in the off position, make sure all the power's off, like I said. Switch over your fridge to 12 volt, put your glass down, is a really 100% you need to do that. If you don't put your glass down, even though you've got these little hooks here, they will, I can just guarantee you they'll fall down and break. So really important to do that. Make sure all your cupboards are on the latch there so they don't, make a loud noise when you're driving. Other than that, that's about it really. So if there's anything else you think I've missed out or anything you'd like me to go through, just let us know. But otherwise, look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.